Right off the bat, this picture is unsettling, particularly to those who fear flying. What you are looking at are the final moments of Air France Flight 4590, operated by one of the fastest commercial jets in the world, the Concorde. Just before the picture was taken, the flight, scheduled from Paris to New York, ran over debris on the runway dropped by the previous aircraft using the same runway, causing a tire to explode and disintegrate. The fragments, launched upwards at great speed by the rapidly spinning wheel, violently struck the underside of the wing, damaging parts of the landing gear, preventing its retraction and causing the integral fuel tank to rupture. Large amounts of fuel leaking from the rupture ignited, causing a loss of thrust in the left engines. The aircraft lifted off, but the loss of thrust, high drag from the extended landing gear, and fire damage to the flight controls made it impossible to maintain control. The jet crashed into a hotel in nearby Gonesse 2 minutes after takeoff. All 9 crew and 100 passengers on board were killed, as well as 4 people in the hotel, along with 4 other people who had slight injuries. Most of the people on the flight as the photo was taken were just coming to the realization that they were in trouble. Some had so little time to process the seriousness of their circumstances. 1 minute, the plane is in its takeoff roll for the Big Apple. Then the next, the cabin is engulfed in flames. What is wrong with this picture? Most of you would point out the plane is on its side, dangerously close to the ground. That's part of it. But those who are familiar with the flight notice something else. The plane is missing an engine on its left wing. These are the final moments of American Airlines Flight 191, caught on camera. It was a regularly scheduled flight from Chicago to Los Angeles. On the afternoon of May 25, 1979, the McDonnell Douglas DC-10 operating this flight was taking off from runway 32, right at O'Hare International, when its left engine detached from the wing, causing a loss of control, and the aircraft crashed about 4,600 feet from the end of the runway. All 271 occupants on board were killed, along with 2 people on the ground. With 273 fatalities, it is the deadliest aviation accident to have occurred in the United States. God only knows what the passengers were thinking during the moment the photo was taken. A turboprop coming into land. Nothing disturbing about that. It's what happened after the photo was taken. What you are looking at is KLM Cityhopper Flight 433. It was a Saab 340, which crashed during an emergency landing on April 4, 1994, killing 3 occupants, including the captain. Flight 433 was a routine scheduled flight from Amsterdam in the Netherlands to Cardiff, Wales. The accident was caused by inadequate pilot training and a faulty sensor, leading to loss of control during go-around. The pilots received a false warning of low oil pressure in the right engine, caused by a short circuit. While the first officer consulted the emergency checklist, the captain unilaterally set the right engine's power to idle, probably to reduce the risk of damage. The captain had not anticipated the consequences of flying with one engine at idle, and was unable to stabilize the final approach onto runway 6. The situation was aggravated by an 8-knot tailwind. The aircraft crashed in a field just outside the airport, 1,837 feet from the runway. Out of the 21 survivors, 9 suffered serious injuries, including the first officer. Due to amnesia caused by the crash, the first officer could not recall the accident. It goes to show how simple errors can be all it takes to bring a tragic end to a flight. The worst nightmare of aviators and travelers. A plane hurtling towards the ground with a flame. These are the final moments of Pacific Southwest Airlines Flight 182, taken by Hans Wendt of the San Diego County Public Relations Office, who was attending an outdoor press event with a still camera and took 2 post-collision photographs of the falling 727. PSA Flight 182 was a flight from Sacramento to San Diego with a stopover at Los Angeles. On September 25, 1978, the Boeing 727 serving the flight collided with a Cessna 172 over San Diego, California. It was Pacific Southwest Airlines' first fatal accident, and it remains the deadliest air disaster in California history. At the time, it was the deadliest air crash to occur in the United States, and remained so until American Airlines Flight 191 in May 1979. Both aircraft crashed into North Park, a San Diego neighborhood. PSA 182 struck just north of the intersection of Dwight and Nile Streets, killing all 135 people aboard the aircraft and 7 people on the ground in houses, including 2 children. The Cessna struck Polk Avenue between 32nd and Iowa Streets, killing the 2 pilots on board. 9 others on the ground were injured, and a total of 22 houses were destroyed or damaged by the impact and debris. Disturbing on its own, the photo becomes downright terrifying to think about. All those people, just a few miles out from their destination, meet their abrupt end. Malaysia Airlines 777. Most of us think of MH370. That's dark in itself. But what you're looking at is much darker. If you look closely, the registration is 9 Mike Romeo Delta. The aircraft in this photo had just taken off from Amsterdam for its flight to Kuala Lumpur. That flight was MH17, a flight that was shot down by Russian separatists with missiles halfway through its flight over eastern Ukraine, killing all 283 passengers and 15 crew on board. This was only 4 months after the infamous Flight 370 vanishing. In other words, Malaysia Airlines has had better days. Shortly after the incident, it was announced that Malaysia Airlines would retire flight number 17 and change the Amsterdam-Kuala Lumpur route to flight number 19 beginning on July 25, 2014, with the outbound flight 16 unchanged. Along with the retirement of the Boeing 777 aircraft type from Malaysia Airlines fleet, Malaysia Airlines ended its service to Amsterdam on January 25, 2016, opting to code share with KLM on the route for the services instead. Following the shootdown, shares in Malaysia Airlines dropped by nearly 16%. All of that said, it makes the photo far more disturbing. Nobody, the passengers, the crew, and the photographer, could have known that it would be the last flight of that aircraft.